OpenAI and Anthropic on the same exact day announces that they're both launching a new division in their companies, a division that focuses on implementing and deploying AI into real businesses. And to do so, they're going to be partnering up with private equity firms and Wall Street firms like Blackstone. And I believe since we've had a chatbot back in 2022, this is the greatest news for anyone who wants to figure out how to make money with AI or who's wanting to automate their entire business with AI agents. And my goal within this video is to break down why are they partnering up with private equity firms, Wall Street firms, and consulting firms, and how am I actually going about doing this within my real business. I'm actually going to be sharing my screen and walking you through how I'm deploying real AI agents, real workflows in my business, and showing you all the real obstacles that you have to overcome in order for you to go fully AI native, where agents do 99% of all the fulfillment of all the work in your business. In order to help you understand why they're doing this, I need to read you this one paragraph. It will help you understand why for the last 4 years it's been impossible for you and I to be able to monetize AI and run agentic businesses. And here it is. The deeper technical point is that LLMs do not create value just by answering prompts, because they need to be connected to company data, permissions, tools, evaluation systems, and human review loops before they can affect revenue or cost. If you've been asking yourself why AI is not capable of driving real value for your business or help you launch a business and actually be able to make a lot of money with it, is because LLMs on their own, they're useless. Without access to data, without access to real skills, real judgment, without access to tools, it's just a chatbot. And it gets even worse when you're trying to leverage it in a real workflow in a company. Right now, the way that most businesses are using AI is using it as a tool. A media buyer, a salesperson, a sales manager, a finance person, a operations manager, they're using tools that they have to prompt every single hour of every day, and they become the bottleneck. Regardless of how many hours they spend giving these LLMs, these chatbots, context about the business or about this specific function, they're still incapable of experiencing the same 10x leverage, the same 100x leverage that engineers are experiencing today with coding. You have to understand that coding is a closed loop system where the AI writes the code, AI reviews the codes, and if there is a bug, fixes itself, and then deploys the actual thing that you built. In real businesses, it's an open loop system. Every single process is fragmented into different functions, and whatever you do here affects the next step. Whatever you do in marketing affects sales. Whatever sales does wrong affects marketing. Whatever sales does wrong affects customer success. If customer success fails to deliver value to clients, then marketing is also going to struggle. What this is an open loop system. This creates a lot of complexity and a lot of obstacles when it comes to implementing AI into a business and getting AI to do all of the work. It's already complex enough to figure this out with real humans. Now imagine having to replace every single task, every single function that humans have with AI. Now that you understand that business is a complex system, let's answer the second question, which is why are they partnering up with consulting firms, private equity firms to actually go through this deployment, getting their help to implement AI into these businesses? The first one is private equity firms already have a portfolio of companies, thousands and thousands of companies. So that means that Anthropic and OpenAI don't have to build a go-to-market team, a sales team, build these sales motions, these marketing motions to go sell to these businesses. Private equity firms already own the companies. So by partnering up with private equity firms, they automatically get clients, they get distribution. It's such an important moat that even companies that have these frontier models cannot just vibe code their way into acquiring clients. You cannot just vibe market your way into generating leads, appointments, and client relationships. Another insight that helps you understand how valuable distribution is, OpenAI just missed their numbers this past quarter because Google, Gemini, stole all of the customers. It's because Google already had the distribution. People already use Google every day. So the moment that Google is able to offer a decent product with Gemini, they're able to suck up all the demand from the marketplace because they already have access to the customer. They literally own them. But the second and most important reason why they're going through these partnerships with these consulting firms, these private equity firms, is because the team at Anthropic, the team at OpenAI do not understand niche businesses. They do not understand the processes in a roofing company. They don't understand how to run a dental practice. They don't understand how to run an agency. They don't understand how to run a real estate company. They don't understand how to run a healthcare business. If you do not understand the processes within each business, you cannot help them go through this transformation, because at the core, the way you transform a company into an AI native of operating is you convert every single process that currently delivers value in their business into an agentic workflow. No matter how good the engineers at Anthropic gets or how much leverage they get and how many agent swarms they can spin up, they'll never be able to vibe code themselves a $100 million real estate firm. They'll never be able to vibe code their way into a $100 million portfolio of dental practices, because that requires judgment, and it also requires an infrastructure that that can simply not be vibe coded. Once you understand that the mode is in acquiring clients, having distribution, and owning relationships that cannot just be replicated by AI with a single prompt, and that it's also about having depth in a specific niche and understanding the workflows that actually drive real value so you can actually convert them into agentic workflows, then it's pretty clear what the AI opportunity actually is. AI opportunity is not spending all your day on Cloud Code or Codex or OpenAI or Gemini. It's in going into real businesses, telling them, hey, how do you guys make money? How do you guys deliver value for your clients? I want to help you convert those workflows into agentic workflows where AI agents do 99% of the fulfillment. This is something me and my team have spent the last 15 months working towards, and we've spent every hour of every day that we're working to figure out how we can actually pull this off. How do you go about transforming every workflow of a company into an agentic workflow? And what type of AI infrastructure is needed to actually be able to pull this off? Let's go into my screen and let me walk you through how I'm personally doing it in my business. First things first, let me describe what you're seeing here. So what you're seeing here is essentially all the tasks that these AI employees are currently running. You can see on the right side the work that has been done. I'm not going to go through that right now. I'm going to show you later. And right here is the work that needs to be reviewed by a human. You need a human in the loop to verify and approve the work that is being done, because 99% of the work that is going to be done for your client. And this allows you to avoid any chaos before the work is shared with your client. The most important system in this entire operating system is this file system. In order for AI agents to actually be able to do great work in a company and to be able to control every function of the business, they need a centralized context system. You cannot have AI employees, AI agents doing anything they want without context. Remember, business is a complex system, meaning whatever you do in lead gen affects sales. Whatever you do in sales setting affects customer success. It affects the expectations that clients have. So in order to provide all the context in the business to these agents, you need to centralize everything that gets built. New ads, new funnels, new messages, new clients that pay, all of it needs to be fed into this file system that gets saved and synced up every single day from all the work that's happening in the business. Once you've solved for context, you then need to focus on training the agents on how to do the job. Just like any human, you need to train them on how each single task is completed and done in the business. How do you run ads? How do you manage your sales team? How do you review sales calls? How do you onboard an employee? How do you onboard a client? And this is what I've spent every single hour of every day documenting, building all of these skills so that AI employees can do every single thing that my team can do and that I can do. Once you've documented, codified how do you do work, you then need to make sure that agents have access to all the tools that you leverage to do real work or drive value for your clients. Think of connecting it with ads, connecting it with your Gmail, connecting it with Instantly, connecting it with your CRM. Every single tool that you leverage in your day-to-day, agents need to have access to it just like you do. Once you've integrated all the tools you need to do work, you then need to move on to the phase that I enjoy the most, which is building recipes. You can call them workflows. We call them recipe because this operating system is called Cook AI. This is the phase that I enjoy the most because this is the phase where I'm able to automate real workflows that drive real revenue in my business. I'll give you an example of something that I was working on yesterday. So sales calls are the most valuable asset in a business, not because it's the moment where you're able to close deals and collect money, but because even when someone doesn't buy, there's an insight to be extracted to knowing why did they not buy? What are the beliefs that they don't have that needs to be shifted? Or in a moment where you're able to convert a prospect into a client, it also gives you insights as to why did this person buy? What are the beliefs of someone who's doing business with us so that we can amplify them? Normally, you would hire someone full-time to review sales calls, to extract insights, and to feed these insights into marketing, into the ads, into the emails that we're sending, into the SMS blasts, into the sales letters that we're writing, into the YouTube content we're creating. But the likelihood of finding someone who's really good at extracting insights from sales calls and then turning them into marketing assets is really low. Most of the time, the person who's the most qualified to do this is actually the founder. Because as a founder, you remember that first moment where you took an idea or a desire or a pain point from a prospect and turned it into money. It's so ingrained into you as a founder that it comes naturally. Whenever a prospect says something, you're like, oh wow, this is the thing that we should double down, or hey, by sharing this case study or this insight or this transformation with them. And that's why in this situation, I'm the one who's building these workflows. Let me show you how I built it. So first step is the intake process. I want to understand what's the prospect name, what's the context, what business are they running, what is the pain point, did they buy or did they not buy? If they bought, perfect, we need to amplify these beliefs. If they did not buy, we need to shift beliefs, break the beliefs that they have, and actually help them understand what they need to believe in order to make sense of doing business with us. For every step, we need the inputs and the skill needed by the AI agent to be able to do the work the right way. Step number 2, as I said, is really simple. Find the real leverage points, the core desires, the goals, and the prospect's exact words, their pain, their frustrations, beliefs to break if they did not buy, beliefs to amplify if they did buy. And again, there's a scale assigned so that the agent knows how to do the work. Step number 3 is essentially a step that gets the AI agent to create 5 different angles that we're going to use in our assets, the sales assets, the ads, the SMS, the YouTube content that we're going to be using to send to the prospect that did not buy, to shift their beliefs and get them closer to doing business with us. The last step here is where you need a human to actually review the angles and make sure that the work is good. And then it moves on to the next step, which is the actual asset production process. Same thing. The way that I create the best YouTube videos, I create a scale around how I do that, how I script, how I do packaging, how I do every single thing. Give it access to the agent. Next step is short form. I want to be able to create shorts that talk about the beliefs that we need to amplify or the beliefs that we need to break from the prospects that did not do business with us. And then I want to turn that into an email and SMS asset that is sent specifically to the prospect who just left a call with my team. The reason why this is important is because if you're a prospect that just left a sales call and you get that company sending you a personalized email on your situation or a series of email and SMS that essentially handle every single objection that you had for them, you're most likely going to buy sooner rather than later. And that's what we want to do. We want to personalize and handle all the objections through email and SMS. And this is done perfectly because the agent has access to all the business context. They know all the new case studies from clients. They know all the updates being done on the product, and they know all the objections of the prospect who was on the sales call. You now understand how insane this can become. When agents have access to a centralized context system, they have access to all the tools, all the skills, every single thing that a team and the management layer has access to. The agent can now provide the same experience that would normally provide your most valuable clients to prospects that haven't paid you a single dime. And that is the whole opportunity with AI. The goal is not to just automate the work that you do, it's to be able to automate the work that you can't do, because it wouldn't be viable, it wouldn't be profitable. You would have to hire a bunch of copywriters, you would have to hire a bunch of people auditing every single conversation in your business, and you would not be able to make a single dime if you went that path. But today with AI agents, you can. And as you can see, this is where I essentially was building the recipe. So I started first by building the skill, and then I turned them into a recipe. And once you're done, all you have to do is go ahead and actually schedule them. You have 2 ways to essentially experience autonomous work. You can either decide to have it run on autopilot, where you essentially set recurring work to run on a clock. Things like ad performance reporting, which is essentially what I have here. So every single day at 7 a.m., this employee called Jordan reports back on the performance of our ads. I then also have another employee that lets me know what type of content is currently going viral online. As you can see here, Iris essentially tracks all the performance of our content. I have another employee that essentially tracks our appointment setting efforts. It looks at how much outreach are we doing, how many calls are we booking, where are all the calls coming from, and suggest the number one bottleneck that we need to work on in order to solve it. This is essentially running it on a specific schedule. I have like 7 different AI employees that do this every single day, from content, sales, client success, sales call reviews, every single thing that you can think of. Essentially, I've replaced my executive team with AI employees because they do the work every single day without me having to remind them to do anything. That's step number 1, if you want to have it run on autopilot. The alternative is having them react in real time, which I personally prefer. I'll show you an example of what I built yesterday after I built the workflow. Is every single time there is a sales call recordings on Fathom, Chris should automatically launch the workflow of extracting insights from those calls, figuring out which angles we need to focus on, creating the content, creating the email, creating the SMS, and sending it straight to the prospect so that the prospect literally leaves the sales calls and starts getting nurtured right there and then. And the crazy thing is you can take this a step further. So we have a client who is currently doing a lead gen in the insurance space and is currently doing amazing with like a 12x return on ad spend. And what's exciting about his business, which is a lead generation business for these insurance agents, is that it can fully be automated with these AI employees or with this operating system. And I want to show you an example. He would have to go through the same process, build the skills on how he builds the best ads for these insurance agents. He would also have to create a skill around how he goes about ad reporting. He would also have to create a skill around how he goes about managing ads. Once he has created all of those skills, he can simply schedule tasks that happen every single day, or whenever new leads come in, or whenever the cost per lead goes through the roof, or whenever there is creative fatigue, and get an AI employee like Chris or Nina or Jordan to go ahead and start creating 10, 20, 30 new creatives for his clients. And just simply, once it's approved, upload them on Meta, on the advertising platform, and start generating new leads without ever lifting a single finger. And this here is an example of ads that were created by one of the AI employees for one of our clients who's going after med spas. And it created the video, it created the caption, it created every single thing, even the avatar design. Why? Because the AI employee already has context around the client's business and who they're going after and their offer. All that the founder has to do now is pick the first 5 creatives that have the best hooks and that he wants to launch and test with, launch them, test one, find the winner, double down on them, and simply assign a task to the AI employee to look at the performance of the ads, to figure out which hooks are the best, which ads are generating the best cost per booked call, and have it regenerate new creatives, new variations based on what's currently performing. Everything that I just walked you through is the real AI opportunity, hence why OpenAI, Anthropic are having to partner with consulting firms, with private equity firms that own the companies and understand the processes within real businesses so that they can actually go ahead and deploy AI in these agentic systems and actually automate real work. If you're watching this and you're just starting out and you're trying to make your first 10 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 50 grand a month with AI, your number one goal should be to race to owning a specific workflow for a specific company, because they're not going to figure this out on their own. So the arbitrage opportunity is build the workflow, build the skills, build everything, and then go to businesses and sell them outcomes that your AI employees are delivering and have 80% margins and have the scalability of a software business. If you're watching this and you're already operating and you have, like me, $2 million, $3 million a year in payroll, if you do not automate your business, if you do not convert your business logic, your IP, every single process in your business that makes you money and that helps you deliver great value for your clients, you're going to go out of business, because you're simply not going to be able to compete with a one-person company that has like 5, 10, 20, 30 different AI employees, AI agents doing the same amount of work that you're currently doing, but for 1/100th of the cost. After 2 years of trying to figure out how to make real money with this AI technology, I think we finally figure out. And the answer is simply stay far away from the AI technology. Just figure out how to convert real business processes into these workflows, into these recipes, and give them access to the AI agents and get them to deliver value, create assets, manage ads, manage sales teams, manage every single function that you can think of, and sell it to businesses. It's just that simple. And if you don't understand that the opportunity has nothing to do with focusing on Claude Code and that it's all about focusing on business processes and automating these workflows for businesses or owning them internally and then renting them out to businesses, then you're going to keep struggling. If you're interested to learn more or to go deeper on this, click the link below, join my upcoming workshop where I'm essentially going to be laying out how you essentially can go through the same transformation through our AI operating system that is TriCook AI. See you on the other side.